just working on oddball stuff.
All right, it's 10 o'clock. Call the meeting to order.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of agenda. Any additions or deletions?
I may have a question or two,
All right.
see what comes out of the manager's report.
All right, thank you. Review the minutes, regular meeting. They look pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Any
Me too.
corrections? If not, please stand. Thank you. Review and approve bills, accounts payable. Dated January 23rd for $257,917.35.
I move that we pay the accounts payable dated January 3rd for $257,917.35.
I support.
Any discussion? We didn't have to like salt, we just set it pretty good. Salt had those bad. If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same. Motion carries.
Well, I think in general, we're doing a better job on the roads than we did a few years ago, as far as salt and
Everybody
sand,
getting them out
keeping
there
it clear, yeah.
You know, somebody's getting a big hit.
I did have one comment.
Wasn't my comment.
Person wanted to know why the road was white.
Oh, this year for some reason they have been. I mean,
It's because it's all the small little storms.
Yeah.
And so when you put material down, it melts it away, but it's not enough to dilute it. And so when it dries, actually, this there for the next storm too,
Yeah.
within reason, we don't need all kinds of
I
extra, but
said, would you rather have them on?
yeah. All right, payroll date,
What
January
did they say? Yeah.
for 139,933.03, January 16th for a total of 11,923.85.
I move we pay the payroll.
Any discussion? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
I believe that was all been done.
Yeah, I think forever we're done now.
Okay, treasurer's report.
Beginning cash and investment balance is $2,456,269.22. Total receipts is $161,494.13. Total bills and payroll is $404,774.23. Bonds and escrow is $10,250. CD reserved for 2 trucks is $670,647.03. Ending available fund balance is $1,532,092.09. Outstanding accounts payable, we have a credit of $3,092.05.
Any questions? If not, stand as presented. Thank you. Public comment, no, nothing.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
There.
We're not
I'll add to the.
Oh, man. Oh.
Can you say that with a straight face, though?
Yeah, I was gonna choke.
It happens to me too.
Oh. Robert from the DECI, we'll just let him, or is he here?
He's not here right now.
We'll just wait. When he comes,
When he comes, he's supposed to.
Manager's comment.
All right, I'll go through a few things here. I'm not gonna hit some of the things that really didn't change from last month's engineering update. Right now, they're still working on, or we are still working on putting all the township agreements together, all the township projects, so that they can, some of them are already coming in, but these are more of the chip seal and the paper patch and that kind of stuff, projects they want to see. So we're compiling all those still. Let's see, the federal aid project, which is Camden Road between Pittsford and Tripp. Let's see, they've opted to wait, of course, you know, they opted to wait till the 2025 construction season in the spring. The project is scheduled to be complete by June 20 of 2025. As far as the federal aid project, which is the Concord, Herring, and Jonesville roads, all the revisions have been submitted, and the bid letting should be April 4th. And then we'll roll from there on that. And then we've got a meeting scheduled here coming up in February. We haven't discussed the exact date for the 2026 small urban projects to see where that's going to go. Let's see. Finally, the nuclear density gauge is no longer in our possession. We shipped it out yesterday. So we got some paperwork we've got to send into the NRC just to validate everything. So we no longer have a nuclear density gauge here.
Where did it go?
We shipped it back to Instratech, which is a company that like deals with them, you know, so they will either put it into their system and have somebody use it, or they've got a way of disposing of the actual materials. But that's the only way you can officially get rid of or, you know, terminate the thing with the nuclear gauge. So, we will look at what a non-nuclear gauge to do, and they've got them now that are, like, one is for asphalt, one's for material, like, you know, the dirt, you know, run bridges and culverts and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna see what those are gonna cost, and then we can do our own with that. The only thing that the nuclear gauge is still required for is any federal aid, and we'll have to either get a surrounding county or a contractor. Normally that's gonna come out of federal aid project, and so we can just have that built into the contract, and they would be responsible for doing it.
No extra cost. And
Oh, it'd be a little extra cost on the contract, but in the grand scheme of things, we don't have the hassle, the maintenance. I mean, that's a couple grand every year just to keep it calibrated and, you know, leak test and all that kind of stuff.
There's a certain amount of liability involved too.
That too. So anyway, more to come on that, but we're gonna look at seeing that.
I'm just curious, when you said you shipped it out of here, was that by armed guard or what was it?
Well, actually, we worked it with the company. They contract with a shipper for them. They showed up here and the guy wouldn't accept it because it's radioactive. Yeah, we know.
That's why we're
Well,
shipping.
there was a mishap with the paperwork. They didn't recognize it. They were picking up radioactive, so he wouldn't take it. And so
hazardous materials.
we had to go back to the company and say, hey, what's up? And so they figured out the miscommunication. Same guy showed up the next day and said, yep, we'll take it. The paperwork's right.
He's got the placards on
So-
the vehicle.
So that's
He
once,
showed up in a hazmat suit.
once the paperwork's done, we're done with that. We don't have to worry about that anymore.
He's gotta have his paperwork in order.
Let's see. moving on. So, our negotiations for the collective bargaining agreement has hit a stalemate. So it's been referred to mediation, and so February 10th, we'll have our first meeting under mediation. We'll go from there. Let's see, myself and Heather again will be attending the county engineer workshop on February 11th, 12th, and 13th, so we won't be here those days.
So you won't be here for the meeting.
Is that one of the meetings?
13th, I believe
Yeah,
so.
so I won't be here for that meeting. If need be, I guess Kevin can give you an update. Right, it sounds like right now it's just road maintenance, you know, so we're scraping and,
Winter maintenance.
yes.
Okay, thanks.
Let's see, I just attended, McChrysett, the managers meeting yesterday all day. A lot of good info there, caused a lot of questions too, so they're working on a lot of things all the way through the state, you know, legislature, trying to get things passed, trying to get things clarified, but most everything that we talked about yesterday was on what is the right of way, how big's the right of way, what's the legalities of the right of way, encroachments, really everything that has to do with that. And it's amazing, after listening to some of the speakers and stuff, how big of an issue there is just in determining, is that legally a road? Or did, way back in the past, even before the McNitt Act, was it done right? And is now that's getting argued in court on some things. And so, hopefully some things get fixed, but really what it came down to is it's gonna be business as normal. As far as we're concerned, the road right of way in most cases are 4 rods, which is 66 foot. And we'll have to deal with things as they go. I do have a letter coming from McChrysett that's it's kind of like a blank letter that you can fill in the blanks, you know, kind of thing for an encroachment, which we have one in Somerset right now that I'm working with the Somerset zoning office to determine that. But basically, it was a hiccup on their part to allow it, but there's a structure now in the right of way. I think it's about 3 foot into our right of way. They actually had a 25-foot setback off of our right of way. This is totally in. It just got missed. So this letter from McChrysett is going to basically tell them, okay, we're going to be okay with it for right now, but no maintenance can be done to it. If it falls down, it can't be replaced, and it goes through all the legal steps. I'm not too worried about it personally because it's in the right of way, because where it's sitting, there's still a fence row of like oaks between the road and it, you know, so it's technically in the right of way, but we're gonna say if the zoning's okay with it, we'll back the zoning, you know, personnel from the township. But in the future, one, don't allow this again, but in the future, if this falls down or whatever, you can't repair it, you can't do anything, it needs to go. So that's just it in a nutshell for that one. Let's see, we're still trying to work on the fuel pumps. There's all kinds of, we've got 3 different quotes now, or estimates. They range anywhere from like 65,000 to 165,000. And it's because they didn't quite all bid the same thing, or did not quote, it's not a bid, so it's just quotes, so we're trying to figure out what we want to do and what we want to put in a bid. 1 or 2 of the companies did a satellite pump, which is so that when our trucks have tanks on both sides, they can fuel those tanks without having to turn around and come back in. So we're gonna get them all to quote both with and without the satellite pump, and then also with and without a DEF, which is the diesel exhaust fluid stand. It's like its own little building. It's temperature controlled, and it's just like a fuel pump. It just has DEF for all our diesel trucks. So once everybody kind of gives us the same apples for apples comparison, we'll build the quote, but it's going to be at least 100,000, if not the 160. to replace the fuel
Didn't we
pumps.
didn't we plan on like 100,000?
Yeah, we kinda did, but we're still trying to work, I just wanna let you know, we're still trying to work through, me and Joe, on what they're quoting, why, you know, how much, and
Sounds to me like extra pump wouldn't hurt.
I was actually questioning whether we really need it, but I think probably for the cost that we're gonna see, what that addition is, it's not that bad, it'll make it a whole lot easier for the guys.
Yeah, rather than going out and turning.
All of our Peterbilts have dual tanks. I don't believe the Western Stars have just a tank on the one side, but I guess there's probably about 13 of the trucks have dual tanks.
I think it
So-
makes sense. Depending on what you said,
Yep.
but
So
fine.
you're
As long as it's not outrageous. I
You're gonna
think
have a
so.
drive-through so you can fill from both sides.
Yeah, rather than going out, turning around, coming back, that takes time.
So more to come on that. I just want to let you know it's still in the works. We're still working on it, but it's still going to be a chunk of change to get all that done. And knock on wood, everything holds together until we get this done because those pumps are older than dirt.
Yeah.
Are they the original pumps that were put in when they moved out here?
Probably.
I think so.
Yeah.
Probably.
I think
They-
so. I don't remember ever replacing them.
I think all the companies along, and Mercer is one of the companies we're dealing with, say the tanks are good. The tanks can match up to anything that we
I
put
don't
out.
know, I mean,
So
I can't remember when they did.
this building was built, I think, somewhere in the 70s,
yes.
but did they move the,
The garage was built a lot later than that.
yeah. That's been here, what, at least 30 years or more.
Or at least probably 40 to 45.
But the tanks below them
They
are,
say the tanks are fine, the tanks can hook up to any system that we want, they can hook up to the tanks, and they're still good for quite a few years. So,
Mercer serviced them for years.
yeah, and they still do.
Yeah.
And so, I just wanted to let you know we're still trying to get that one worked out. When we get the bid ready, of course, the bid will come through to get approved, but at that point and they're saying that once it's all done, it'd take a couple weeks to
Switch it.
switch them all out, and so.
yeah,
The other thing I want to kind of ask and get your opinion of not just putting the fuel pumps in, but putting a canopy, so that when they're there fueling, there's a canopy over them to keep them out of the weather. Grand scheme of things, it's not huge, but I mean, I don't know of a gas station around that, other than maybe some of the lightning stops or whatever that don't have a canopy. So.
I don't know why you wouldn't have one. It's ran.
And I believe there's posts there, I think the lights are on them, that they could probably somehow build off of that for a canopy, but I just wanted to.
Let's get an estimate.
Sure.
Cost.
And we would.
Yeah, let's get an estimate.
The only other thing, I'm calling around to see, because we don't have a bid on, we have a bid on our salt brine for the roads for dust control. We don't have a bid on the 32% calcium chloride, which would get loaded into the tanks for mainly the state trucks, because they've got them. There's a couple of them that have been pushed to the county. They can pre-wet the salt and make the salt work a little bit better and cheaper. So I'm calling around just to see what the cost per gallon is on that 32% calcium chloride. And then if it's feasible, we can use that 12,000 gallon tank that's in the salt barn. That's what it's made for. And try to start using that as much as possible.
that'll work in cold weather.
It will work in colder weather. It's still there, and there's quirks that go along with the 32% too, because you can make it really icy, snotty if you use that at the wrong time too. So guys have to know. They will have to tell them
Yeah, you just can't.
when to use it, when not to use it. But when you're getting down where the salt really isn't working, but you can pre-wet the salt with that, it gets the salt working better, quicker, and that will help in the long run. So. The last thing I've got is this on the agenda?
That's on there.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, might as well.
Do it now.
Okay, well, yes. So the County Road Association board of directors has their elections periodically. They've asked us to vote, or for you guys to vote on who you'd like to see. One is for a 3-year term, and one is for a 4-year term.
There's only 2 running.
Yeah, for each one, there's one running for each one. One is Larry Brown, which used to be, help out here. He is the 3-year seat for the southern seat. And then for the the 4-year southern seat is Scott Merlot from Lenway. And so you can write in one if you want to write in, or you can vote for each one of them.
I think we just let you vote for each one of them.
Okay, then I will do that.
Hard to mess that up.
They're both good guys.
Yep,
Yes,
they are. They are. And so we will submit those ballots and get them back to CRA. I want to let you know that, I think I told you last time, or maybe individually, that John Reed has submitted his letter of resignation. His last day is going to be the 14th of February. So if you guys would like to know that, I don't know if we're going to try to do a little something for him or.
Don't joke.
Everybody's joking today. But just so you know, that'll be his last day. I'm touching up the job description to get a new job, posted. We'll see where we can go from there.
Good.
I have a question. Do we ever buy a sign truck?
Okay, nope, I can get to that too. That should be here. They're saying all they said was the 1st of February. Originally they said mid-January. We're not buying it, we're leasing / renting it right now. Once we get that, we're still finishing up the spec to actually put it up for bid. We're gonna rent this one or lease it for the time being. If they get the bid when it all washes out, then they've said that they will apply 70% of the rental fee to the purchase price.
Okay.
But right now, we're expecting that. They're actually installing the post puller and the post driver on it right now. And then whenever they get done with that, they'll bring it and we'll have that to use.
Cool.
Until we get the bid done and we go through that.
What are you thinking about the old one? What to do with the truck?
We're talking about taking the boom off and using it as a flatbed and putting the equipment that would go along with the skid steer to where it can pull the skid steer on a trailer but have all the buckets and extra parts and pieces for a skid steer or that job on that truck. The truck itself, I guess, is in decent shape. It's just the boom is, I don't know, it's probably been passed down to 2 different trucks that I know
Went to
of.
boom.
And so.
Yeah.
You alright?
Yeah, you get my collection of
So
birds
hopefully-
by one eye.
Hopefully by next meeting, we should be seeing that truck.
Good.
Good deal.
I guess under hit old business
Yeah.
for the highway conference.
Something must have came up with Robert.
Yeah, he was, the DMCI was gonna be here to talk to you. What they're asking for, and he might still show up and we'll discuss it, but they're asking for a letter of support, from the road commissioners. I think they could probably even use one from the county commissioners.
We've provided already.
Okay, for the BEAD, okay. Which is to, I forget what BEAD stands for, it's one of their grant programs to run like the fiber optic and stuff.
I sent it in the emails last night, I'm trying to find what it means.
But anyway, part of that is, while they're doing that, they're gonna run a fiber optic line through here and to the tower. I think it's supposed to stop over on Steenberg or something, but they're gonna go ahead and run that themselves, and that'll boost the coverage and stuff around here too. So,
Cool.
I guess being that he's not here, Another thing that letter of support, he gave us a sample
Yeah, and I
letter of
kinda
support.
filled stuff in if you guys
Okay.
were going to.
To me, it sounds like a good thing to help get the more municipalities that give them that letter of support helps them in the judging for grants and, gets them some extra clout, I guess. But, another thing that came up was we met with them about, they're very concerned over all the big companies are like losing phone customers left and right. They're just
Cisco,
What customers?
our
the phone companies.
Oh,
the server that,
And so
yeah,
the company they go through, they're afraid they're about to go under too. So they're trying to hedge their bet and they're putting in new servers that will handle all their stuff themselves. And they thought those new servers were gonna be basically a plug and play, just come off of theirs, come onto theirs, and everything still works. Well, they found out in the middle of doing it that this style phone is not gonna work with the servers. So he come and we had a long meeting on,
because this style phone is the server that they think are going under.
yes,
Yep.
yeah. So to replace all the phones, it's gonna be right at the $3,000 mark,
Right around there.
which I guess isn't too bad. But we also went through and found phones that we don't need, that we've been paying for, so we deleted 4 or 5 phones. So our monthly bills will go down. We deleted the paging capability, which apparently nobody knew we even had, on the phones.
Yeah.
So we did a little bit of work to the monthly bill of what we're getting charged for, so that's gonna be down also.
And to change all this out, they're not, charging for any labor, just
Just the equipment.
just the equipment.
The new phones will have a few more capabilities, which I like. One of which is there's an app that goes along with them, and well, actually, they would all be capable of using Bluetooth. So instead of always just being tied to the cord, we can have any kind of Bluetooth system. You hook up to it, and then you can use it wirelessly. So they can walk around the office or whatever and still talk on the phone and not be tied right to the phone.
yeah.
One of the other things that it has is in that app, if, like, I've got my cell phone and I don't normally want to give out my cell number to just everybody and their brother, this app will, you can bring up that phone basically. So when you use that phone, it looks like to everybody that's the phone you're calling from, is your desk phone. And so you can receive any calls with your cell phone that would have come into there. And when you make a call, you can make it to where it comes from that phone, not yourself.
That's a good idea.
So just those couple things there, I think are nice.
Yeah.
I even asked him, I said, so you say Bluetooth works for that thing? I said, so do my hearing aids work? And he said, if they're Bluetooth, they will. So I might actually wear my hearing aids for But it's right at the $3,000 mark. I know that's under my pen authority and I can get it, but I just wanted to let you know what's going on. And because I think it's not something that we have to do right now, but
If a phone was to break down, like if my phone quit, we wouldn't get a new one.
Right.
So, and we've already had a few phones go down.
we've had a couple of them break and just swapped them around a little bit. But, and that's someone that we took off the bill, so we're not paying for that line anymore.
Makes sense.
Other than that, I think I ran out of things to talk about.
Old business, the highway conference
okay.
roadshow. I need to know if anybody's going to that.
When is that?
It is
The
March
last week,
25th to March 27th.
last week of March.
Kathy said that she wasn't gonna be going to that because she wasn't gonna be here today. But we need to know who to register if anybody wants to go.
27th.
Yes.
March.
And we brought it up last meeting and everybody was gonna check.
I'm going.
You're going?
Mhm.
So it's 3 days. And we got a meeting on the 20th.
we moved to change our date.
So we could go to the road
Yeah.
show. How soon you gotta know?
Yesterday.
Well, as soon as possible, probably tomorrow. I,
Why
but
not today?
I know
There's
there's a
gonna be a
deadline,
cutoff
but we're
for
trying to get
registration,
everybody
but
set up
the cutoff for the hotel is usually
way
Yeah,
more of
sooner.
a-
If you wanna be in the same hotel that the event is in, that's what I wanna try to do.
that's
Yeah,
gonna be
the sooner the better.
Yeah, so last board meeting, we brought it up, so I could do it today. But,
I don't know if I got one of them in the mail or not.
I got one.
I did.
Yeah.
I probably got one.
I don't see it. Haven't seen the date yet, the registration deadline. Okay, early rate is February the 20th.
that's for registration, not
Right.
hotel room.
Yeah, but
I just wanna make it so we can be in the
When
same,
I see that for a
Building.
second, I just
Yeah,
wanna
that-
see what they're,
The same building that fills up fast. Everybody
yeah,
wants
you
to be.
wanna be in that,
what they wanna talk about.
in that number one hotel, you need to get registered early.
I can wait till tomorrow.
If now I gotta bring a tent.
Pretty much.
Well, the first year
Go
you
to
went,
Bath
remember,
Tennessee.
they were doing remodeling work in the hotel downtown, and we got in a hotel out there on Lake Lansing Road.
I believe they do have like 2 or 3 of them right now in that area. It's all walking distance to the Lansing Center.
You
It's
just
just the
don't-
one has the gerbil tube.
Yeah, you don't have the sky bridge. Yeah, if it was days like yesterday and the day before, the sky bridge would be nice.
But in March usually it's not bad.
Yeah, especially late March, I hope we don't have 10 below weather.
So I think their intent is to get everybody in those hotels in that area this time because they're all available now, so.
And then I was I got a letter about our 2024 maintenance advance. We are receiving $3,101
And that's from our
State?
state
on
contract.
that.
So, like when they reimburse us for equipment and stuff, we charge them the Schedule C rate. We're just getting a minimal
I guess
reimbursement
we'll be
this year. I mean,
That's
which is
good.
what they
That's good.
want, you know, so they don't want these big,
They want
adjustments.
close to zero, huh?
There's been years we paid them.
But that's still 2 years back.
We'll be
This
done.
is 2024.
Oh, it's okay.
I said.
Let's go back to that DMCI.
Okay.
I feel comfortable giving them a letter of support.
Sure.
Everybody-
Yeah.
Who does that have signing it?
I ended up putting a line for everybody because I wasn't sure, but I can change it however you
That's
want.
fine. I think it's fine. The more support, the better.
So,
I'll support it because they were at the Adams Township board meeting, they're gonna put fiber optic in my township.
They're running a lot right now.
That's good.
And that's where these grants come in, is
Yeah.
so they can do all those.
I did a little sample so you guys had it in your packet so you could read over it. But I can change whatever you'd like.
It's fine if you got it that way. We can make a motion to,
I move, I'll support it.
all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. You got it ready to sign?
Yes.
Pass her around. We're dependent on you, Katie, that we're not signing her life order.
Not signing over magazine.
Well, if she gets me into trouble, then she's gonna have to go feed my cat.
I don't want nothing to do with them. Better than a cow. I don't want nothing to do with them.
I got 6 chickens, you can take care of those.
Oh.
So does she.
They're easier than cattle.
Yeah, but
Come on, Pen.
Oh, sure.
I'm not liking mine.
You don't like chickens?
I don't mind chickens, but when it's my responsibility, I don't like it.
You gotta just put water and feed and gather the eggs.
Yeah, pretty simple.
Once a year, clean them up.
I will get a,
You got kids, let them do it.
Yeah,
Little yet.
that's how I got chickens back, cause my daughter said I needed some chicken chores, cause when she was a young girl, I made her take care of chickens.
That sounds cruel.
Cruel and unusual.
Yeah.
Tell me like you turned out a decent person.
Yes, she did.
Good thing you passed it on.
No, Snooki.
That's it? All right.
So I have a couple things. Did Bob or Katie, either of you get any info on the Southeast Council meeting? It's gonna be held in April, or in Adrian, I think on February the 3rd. Monday, February the 3rd at 9:30 in the morning.
I just talked to Scott yesterday too. I believe so. But don't,
I called over there, so I've gotten to know Beth.
oh yeah, that's.
Yeah.
A good point of contact.
Yeah, so I've called over there and she's the one who gave me the info, and she said they were, that day or something, they were sending something out to everybody. So if any of you wanna go to that, I mean, I'm gonna drive to it myself from where I am, it's crazy
I
to come
normally
back,
go to those.
come to Hillsdale to turn around and go back to Adrian, so.
I'll probably attend. What time is it?
Well, the coffee and the donuts start at 9 and the meeting starts at 9:30,
Good to be there at 9 anyways,
yeah.
whether you want coffee.
So it's at the road commission office,
Yep, Street.
you know where it is,
I know where.
you've been there many times.
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, I've only been there once.
I've only been there once.
Okay, well,
it's easy,
yeah, it is easy.
I know where it's at.
I've been there.
Okay,
I was north of there. Out on 52 is where I was at.
if, typically that's one that, I mean, there, we have to pay for lunch.
Mhm.
But if you guys register us, they'll probably just bill everybody.
Sometimes
Bill
they
you,
will, but-
yeah. So put Mark and I down. And Bob, we don't want Bob to go hungry.
I agree, yep,
And sometimes I'll probably have Heather go if she's available.
alright.
Okay.
And then the other thing I wanted to ask, so I remember that 2 years ago, shortly after you came on board, we had all the bridges inspected. And because you presented us a list, you know, of how they turned out, that was the basis for applying for bridge funding for the 4 bridges that we had to do by the 1st of April. So has there been a new bridge inspect? I thought we had to have them inspected every 2 years.
There's gotta be so many of them, like, it's like half every year. And they're
They were just-
either in the process of doing that or
They're done,
they're done, okay,
I saw the bill.
okay.
So perhaps sometime here shortly we'll
Yeah.
get a report.
Yep, and there's a whole bunch of new requirements coming with the bridge stuff, and so we're fumbling through that too. But Heather's got a grip on that right now.
Okay.
Yes, they all have to be inspected every other year, or half.
That's all I have.
The only thing I've got was County Commissioner Brad Benzing was at the Adams Township Board meeting, and he passed out an Attorney General's new opinion on the Open Meetings Act, and that, from what I gathered, and what he said, was 2 commissioners can make a quorum. I don't know how that can be. Okay. Please explain, Doug.
Is this new math or what?
I don't know.
I attended new commissioner school in December. The attorney from Cole Stoker, Mr. Stoker, was there. That's the legal that Hillsdale County calls and asks a lot of their HR tech questions and other questions. Mr. Stoker spoke on certain events that had transpired that had come into question. One in particular was a bid process in, I think it was Macomb County, where they had a laundry list of bids. I think it was bids. It might have been for an employment position where they had a lot of people. The point of that is they had a process where they weeded them out and got down to 5, and the final decision, I think by Michigan Supreme Court, was the full list couldn't be weeded out because that was part of the decision-making process. If you are involved in the decision-making process, then it needs to be subject to the Open Meetings Act. Now, Mr. Stoker, as he was speaking, also said that he was going to write an opinion and send it to the county on what we can and cannot do. He has not done that yet. The basic bottom line message that came out of that Brad, I'm sure, is talking about, is if you have a committee meeting, and if there's even one, not only 2, but if there's one that sorts things out in the decision-making fashion, and then comes to the board without the full list or full discussion on what was transpired, that is subject to the Open Meetings Act. So how I'm dealing with that, and until we get the final language from Mr. Stoker, we don't really know the answer, but I'm trying to play it safe. So with my department heads, we're having conversations, but it's not the commissioner making a recommendation. It's the department head. You make your decision based on information. We can talk all day about it. If you want to talk in facilities, for example, I'm chair of that committee. Mark Wiley is vice chair. If we get the department head and Mark and I in a room, and we sort out a process by elimination of certain things that we want to do, then we need to have had that published as an open meeting. If we have the same 3 in a room and the commissioners don't make a recommendation, you give the information to the department head, and then the department head makes a decision, takes it to the full board of commissioners, that's not a violation. And so I am, as an individual commissioner, having conversations with my department heads that they are making the recommendation to the board of commissioners instead of the commissioners saying, okay, look, here's what we need to do. And I'm sure that's what Brad's talking about. It's not necessarily that it's 2 makes a quorum. It's the discussion that happens that brings it to some sort of a resolution. That resolution process is what needs to be subject to the Open Meetings Act. And so, for example, when we had our budget this year, Budget Chair Commissioner Leininger had everything posted as a public meeting so that as we were there, now no public showed up. However, it was posted as a public meeting because we were ongoing making decisions as part of the budget process. And so then we took our recommendation, and it was a recommendation to the full board of commissioners. If you're involved, part of a decision-making process outside of the full board, that interpretation is what we're going to hear from Mr. Stoker that requires the open public meeting and the posting of, it's 18 hours, I think.
Well, this was what was brought up when we had our meetings with the townships. We had boards here, township boards. And so were they in violation of the Open Meetings Act?
So it's potential, but like I said, Mr. Stoker hasn't come down hard with his opinion. And so initially, right now, it's more of an awareness, just be aware that there could be changes. And I personally, and other commissioners, I think, are beginning to be as careful as we absolutely
Right.
need to be.
It sounds to me like what we have is a liberal court legislating from the bench. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it could be an interpretation, and it could be that the interpretation isn't correct. I don't know that answer, but I'm being very careful myself. And like I said, which to me, we want to be careful anyway,
Oh, yeah.
and do things the right way. Every board and every committee that I am part of are very aware of, the public meeting aspect of it. Okay, there's not one that to me is, trying to be violating intentionally. We're trying, all of us, my observation, is to do things the right way. This is just another layer that was discussed at new commissioner school that I brought back. And so I am, personally, as a commissioner, trying to have open discussions with the department head. Recommendation comes from the department head to the board of commissioners. To me, all of our meetings are posted. If I have a meeting where we're gonna make some decisions, I am gonna have the clerk post it, and we're gonna go upstairs and have a meeting. It's not anything that is a hardship, it's just another layer to me. And so I'm being aware, and it is a change of how we've done things in the past. That's correct. But, what we've done in the past, typically everything that, in facilities department, anything we talk about, I end up talking about in the board of commissioners meeting anyway. I end up talking about, we did this, and this, and we came to this conclusion. So it's still noticed, and it's still posted, because the conversation is happening in the board of commissioners meeting. So, but I'm just, that is where this came from, I'm sure.
Well, we discussed too, like two commissioners going to a conference, they ride together.
Yeah, but you don't make a decision.
There's no decision made in that. And there are exceptions to the Open Meetings Act, casual occurrences, conferences.
Chance meetings.
Exactly, you meet up at a wedding or a funeral, I mean, that's not a posted meeting, Also, anything educational isn't posted anyway. I mean, you can go to seminars and conferences, that's exempt, because you're not making decisions, you're going there to learn.
Well, you're supposed to be learning, but.
That could be an exception.
So I'm certain that's what Brad is talking about. I probably overdid it, but that's,
Well, he left for the township board, these pamphlets from like the attorney general, of course.
yeah, I don't know
I
that
couldn't
I've
bring
seen.
one home because it was for the Adams Township,
Yeah, I don't know
which
that
I don't know that done me any good anyways, but,
I don't know that I've seen that particular document.
yeah. But I just brought this up so that the board would be aware of it.
And Mr. Stoker, when Mr. Stoker comes through with this letter,
Get
that'll
a
be,
copy for us.
that'll be
please.
information,
Please
absolutely.
pass that information along so we don't.
Yeah.
As all the townships will get everything too.
I can only think of two townships that weren't in violation, and one of them was Adams, because it was only the Adams Township supervisor that showed up for our meeting with the township.
Well, it's something in the future that they may need to post that meeting they have with us as a public meeting.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, I mean, this is
We
my
have to post it, too.
perspective of it, these are just informational meetings, they make no decisions at these meetings. We might hand them contracts and say, go back and talk with your
Yeah.
board, but nothing's signed
Yeah,
or
they don't
done
make
right
them
here.
here.
That's
Yeah,
right.
nothing's-
No,
But if some are uncomfortable, the same
Sure.
thing to do would be to post it as an open meeting.
yeah.
And if we wind up with some residents or, public at these,
And that has happened before.
Once in a while, we do get some. from-
Scipio, for example, there were people from Scipio that have come in the past. They didn't this year, but they have in the past.
Okay, it says reschedule August 28th meeting. Is that August 28th or March 28th?
August.
We rescheduled the March
We
meeting
were already
already.
Oh, we
scheduled
did that,
March.
okay,
This is because it was,
right,
The day, so Thursday before Labor Day, so it needs to be on Wednesday.
I mean, cause we're not
So the
open
27th.
Saturday,
all right. Where are we moving it to?
to the
The
27th.
27th.
All right. Do we have a motion for that?
So move.
Support.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. 27th it is. Oh, our favorite thing, township contracts. Allen, road stabilization, reading, paper patch, seal coat, reading. Spot limestone patching on various roads, reading, road stabilization. We need a motion to,
I move we approve the contract.
Support.
all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same. Kathy knew when to take off again.
I have borrowed pen.
Oh.
We moved that meeting to what, the 27th?
Yes.
I'll put that in my calendar. Before I forget.
I found it.
Oh. Any public comment? Nothing, Doug?
I think I just did mine.
Yeah.
I think you do it.
I'm in good shape. You're in good shape.
Anybody else got any comment? If not, we can stand adjourned. Thank you.